guys, welcome to my channel. I originally started this vlog on, I believe, November 7th. November 6th, that Friday night, I found out that I was pregnant. I did a home pregnancy test, but I wanted to be sure. So the next day, I took another one before, I wanted to tell my husband or whatever. And we were excited. Our son now is 9 years old, and he's been begging for a sibling for some years now. I'm sorry if you hear something in the background. My son's in his room. We had decided this year that we were going to try. At the time, we weren't like, oh yeah, like I'm ovulating, so we need to try, but we weren't like using protection or anything. And I haven't been on birth control since 2016, so as far as like any of that bringing complications, I don't think it was, because I had been off of it for so long and I feel so much better without it. But anyway, I had a lot go on that week following the weekend. Like a lot went on. I was under a bunch of stress, which my job at the time was stressful in itself anyway. So I'd already decided that weekend, I'm like, I'm not gonna let my job stress me out. I'm not gonna let my job hurt my baby. It had already put me through enough mental stress, if you know what I mean. So I didn't want to tell anybody, so I didn't, like, at first. But then when I was going to work and I had stuff going on with that, like I had to tell certain people. And then I was starting to feel a little better halfway during the week. So I'm like, yeah, we can tell somebody. And then, you've already had one successful pregnancy, and not the thought of like, oh, this won't happen to me. But I mean, you don't really think the stuff happens to you till it happens to you. So on Friday morning, I woke up and I had a cramp in my stomach. It's a real small cramp. And then it felt like I started bleeding, and I'm like, because if you're a woman and you're on your cycle, like once you cramp or you feel a certain way, like you know there's something going on there. So I went to the bathroom and I started dropping clots, and I was bleeding. Well, when I looked in like my liner, my underwear, it was like a little spot, but then as soon as I sat down, a clot came out. So I kind of knew first thing in my mind, I'm like, please don't let this be a miscarriage. It was like, we was just excited. I just told my husband, I just told my son. So, yeah, so I was kind of stressing. So I was trying to make me some doctor's appointments, because I didn't have a doctor's appointment yet. The place that does the ultrasounds that I wanted to go to, they didn't have an appointment until like later that next week, or we got that next week, late that next week. So then I went to our pregnancy center and I scheduled, because I wanted them to just do an ultrasound, like to see, if everything was okay. So they was like, well, you have to schedule an appointment and all that. So I had it scheduled for that Tuesday. This was that Friday. So it was 3-4 days away. But I had talked to my husband about it, and I said, if I'm still bleeding tomorrow, which was that Saturday, the 14th. So that 14th was the Saturday, and I woke up, I was still bleeding, I was still dropping clots. In your mind, like in your gut, you kind of know, but me, I'm a pessimist. And so I'm trying to be a more positive, optimistic person. So I'm like, let me not put the negative energy out. Let me not say it out loud. I didn't say it out loud often. I try not to think in my head, but guys, it was so scary. I was crying. I was almost hysterical. It's real important to have a good support system, because I don't know what I would have done without my husband or whatever. I'm trying not to cry. But anyway, so I went to the ER, and so the 14th I got up, I was still bleeding. So I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and go to the ER, because I don't want to wait till Tuesday. And me being who I am, like, I'm gonna keep thinking about it. Like Virgos, we overthink. I'm gonna keep on thinking about it. So I was like, forget it. So I went to the ER and told them what was going on. I do have clips and footages of that. Yeah, so today is Saturday the 14th. Currently in the ER. I think I might be having a miscarriage, which is very unfortunate. But it is what it is. So they were basically like, yeah, you're having a miscarriage, but we're gonna rule out everything like ectopic pregnancies, DNCs, all that, to make sure I don't have to have surgery or whatever. And me, like, I'm real good putting on a strong face in front of people. So I do mainly break down like when I'm by myself, when I'm at home, when I'm in the shower, stuff like that. So as I'm in the ER, like they're probably looking at me like, this woman's having a miscarriage and she's not crying, she's not bawling, she's not anything. It's just me, I don't like to do that in front of people because I'm also a healthcare professional. And like I see people when they're not in a good mental state, and it makes me very uncomfortable comforting people, but I know how to do it. So I'm like, I don't want anybody else to feel awkward because I'm in here boo-hooing. Even though that's our job, you know, that's what we're supposed to do. But yeah, and I just didn't want to be breaking down by myself. And I was by myself because I wanted to go by myself. I didn't want my husband to go with me because if he would have gone with me, I would have been a mess in there. I would have been a mess in there. So they did all the tests. They did a little ultrasound or whatever, and said that the baby was basically gone at that point. I was still bleeding that day, like I said. I did have a follow-up appointment, which I think I'll also insert that clip. Good morning, guys. Right now I am at my OB/GYN for my follow-up appointment for my ER visit that I had over the weekend. I hope they don't get in here and try to do another exam and all of that, because what we doing that for? Like, called ER. But yeah, so go in here, let them follow up, check me out. I'm gonna ask some questions, you know, see when we can try again, stuff like that. And yeah, so I'll update y'all when I leave from there. And they did another transvaginal ultrasound. If you have to have one of those, don't be alarmed, because I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, they gotta go all the way up here with this thing. It's less painful than a pap smear. And most of the time, pap smears aren't painful if they know what they're doing. So you don't really, it's just like you can feel them in there. And it was like, yes, like no more sign of pregnancy or whatever. And they took some blood tests, and she just said we could start trying after my next cycle. So that's what I'm waiting on. But it was a lot to deal with, guys. It was a lot to deal with. I just had things happen to me like boom, boom, boom. And I'm just like, you start to question. And you're like, did I do something? Is this my karma? You know, that's that negative self-talk again. And I beat myself up so bad because I'm a real good person. I hate when bad things happen to good people, but it's life. And miscarriages are very common, very common. And it's nothing to depict what actually caused it. So hopefully everything goes good the next time. I'm pretty sure we won't tell anybody because as soon as I told my grandmother, she told like the whole family or whatever, which kind of sucks because I'm like, well, now you gotta come back. But yeah, so hopefully I'm gonna keep praying that everything goes well the next time. It sucks that this had to be my first vlog, but my first video on YouTube. But again, I'm coming on here, I'm gonna be transparent, I'm gonna be real. That's just me. If you know me, you know how I am. Hopefully you guys can get to know me. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out this vlog, and hopefully you guys subscribe and you'll come back next time.